I got into contest shape without tracking a single calorie. And I still sat down with my family for dinners the whole time. I didn't use a food scale, I didn't use an app, I didn't take any pictures of the food. And normally when I diet, I go the complete opposite way. I cut everyone off and I eat my own food. This time, I didn't do it. And to my surprise, I've still been able to get into this level of condition. So I'm going to show you the exact structure that I used in order to do this. And I call it the 3+1 framework. 3 meals that you lock in and never think about again, and 1 meal that stays completely flexible. Because most people think that being disciplined means being miserable about everything, saying no to every single meal, eating out of Tupperware at a restaurant, and that's exactly what makes people quit. One caveat is that I have been doing this for a very long time. So if you're new to dieting or fat loss, you might not necessarily have the same experience as me, and you might need to practice a little bit more restriction before this is going to work for you. Not to mention, everyone also has a slightly different baseline level of hunger. So with that out of the way, let's get into it. So in order for this to work, I made sure that 3 of my meals were completely fixed. I always had the same thing or extremely similar foods that I was eating. If you're slightly smaller than me, you might need to eat a little bit less overall food. So that might look like a total of maybe just 3 meals instead of the 4. So 2 of them would then be fixed. Breakfast was always the same. It was always some sort of protein with oats or some sort of yogurt with some fruit. Lunch is always the same as well, some sort of meat with veg and some rice. And the snack was either, again, a protein yogurt with some fruit or maybe a Ninja Creamy that I'd made myself. 3 decisions that I made once and then I just repeated them. So no new decisions that I needed to make every single day about what to eat or how much of it that I needed to eat. And why that is so important is that every time that you have to decide what to eat, you're using up mental energy. Do that now 3 times a day, and by the time that dinner comes around, your mental capacity is going to be shot. That's when people cave, and the boffins call this decision fatigue. That's the scientific name, I think. Ooh, science friend. Dinner was the only meal that was different for me. Dinner was the +1, the 1 meal that I never fixed. Some nights it would be something home cooked, pretty similar maybe to my lunch. Other nights we'd go out to a restaurant if maybe we were out already. And every other week, dinner meant going to my in-laws where they would do the cooking. My father-in-law cooks incredible Chinese food, and I mean that genuinely. It's some of the best food that I eat all week. Not your British Chinese takeaway food, lemon chicken balls or Singapore noodles, which, by the way, no one in Singapore actually even has heard of this, but legit Chinese food, straight out of the wok, fam. And there's no way that I'm gonna guess the calories in that food. He doesn't measure anything. I don't even think he could tell you the exact ingredients half of the time. It's just done by the feeling, the way that he's cooked it for years. That soul food, a little bit of this and a little bit of that. So if my whole plan relied on tracking everything, that's a wrap. It's not happening. And this is what happens for most people. Most people only have this one way. And if that one way they can't do it, then it's screw it, all or nothing. Gain 3 kilos and start again on Monday. And that's exactly why the 3 mattered so much. If breakfast, lunch, and snack are all locked in and predictable, you've already built yourself a buffer. So on those in-law weeks when I knew dinner was going to be heavier, I'd even drop the snack completely, just breakfast and lunch to give myself more room. So the question is, if I'm not tracking my in-laws' dinner at all, how was I still losing fat? So this is the part that actually takes a lot of practice. If you've seen advice about eating out before, you've probably heard use the 1 plate rule or portion everything before you eat. And that just simply doesn't work in this situation. Traditional Chinese dinners aren't plated out individually. It's shared dishes in the middle of the table. Everyone's serving themselves throughout the meal. So instead of just 1 plate rule, I had to have a 1 bowl rule. 1 bowl of rice, which usually probably ends up somewhere around the 150 to 250 grams cooked. And that was it, no seconds. And from there, I would build the meal around the veggies and the meat from the shared dishes. The veggies and the protein I'd eat first. The rice is kind of like the side piece. But the real skill, the thing that actually made this work without the scales, was eating until I was actually content and not stuffed. And that sounds really, really simple, but most people have never actually practiced it. We're often taught to finish the plate, taught that seconds mean that you enjoyed it, taught that being a big eater It's just who you are. It's the identity that you have. But none of that is really true. Most of the time, it just means that you probably ate too fast for your body to really even catch up and tell you that you've had enough. So in these meals, I'd practice food hygiene. And no, it's not just about washing my hands before I'd eat or washing the rice before I cook it, although I know many of you don't do that. I'd slow down, I'd sit and enjoy the meal. I'd actually be present at the table with my family. And somewhere in there, I'd notice the point where I was satisfied and not stuffed. And I would just stop there. Now, would it be more accurate if I had a food scale? Of course. I made sure that I used one everywhere else in all the other meals I could. But at that table, with no measurements and no chance of tracking it, this was the next best thing. And it was good enough to keep me losing fat. And one of the biggest components to remember is that nobody gets to say how much that you should be eating. My mother-in-law will always ask us to eat more every single time. Eat more, eat more, eat more. And it's not malicious, it's just what she does. In the same way that someone would say, I'm fine when you ask them how they are, even if they're not. It's just a habit, it's politeness, it's the Chinese parents' way to show love. But here's the ironic thing. She doesn't eat for anyone else but herself. When she's full, she stops. She's not eating more because someone at the table wants her to. She just doesn't apply that same logic to me because offering more food is just what you do. It's a politeness, it's a habit. And the mistake that most people make is treating that as pressure that you have to give into. Nobody can really make you eat more than you decide to. Not your mother-in-law, not your mates buying the next round. Nobody. You're eating to your own satisfaction and not theirs. And once you can actually own that, the one bowl rule, one plate rule stops being a fight and just becomes what you do. But sorting out your nutrition on its own won't change your physique. The 3+1 takes care of the eating out problem, but if there's no actual structure behind your training, no phases, no direction, no plan for where you're deciding to go, this is just one piece of the puzzle with nothing to plug into. And that's why my MVP system is there to help you. The full 4-phase plan that I use with every single client from where they are now to their best physique over the 12 months. And if you want to learn more about it, I have a video linked in the description so you can go watch that one next. In the past, all the contest preps I've ever done, I cut ties with everyone. I brought my own food. I isolated myself from anything that I couldn't control because that felt like the only way that I could guarantee those kind of results. And this was the first time that I have ever not done that. I sat down with my family every other week, I ate food that I had zero control over, and I still lost fat consistently. And this is the first time I'm competing in the last 5 years. And over the last 5 years, I've been analyzing my preps. What led to me burning out? What made these diets harder for me? And that's really the whole point of the 3+1. You don't really need to be super rigid about everything. You just need to nail the 3 meals that you can control so that when you can't control the 4th one, it doesn't really matter too much. You don't need to be the person at the dinner table who just sits there and doesn't eat anything. You don't need to cut out your family in order for you to get results. I even went on holiday to Greece with my family where none of my meals were controlled, and I'm still in the condition that I am now. But I want to tell you where this might not necessarily work for you because most people never really tell you the cons, right? And right now I am 4 weeks out from my first show. And in order for me to continue to lose fat during this process, I've had to reduce my calories and reduce the amount that I'm just eating overall. So that rice bowl at dinner is now half a bowl and not a full one. My breakfast and lunch are way smaller too. And the closer that you get to your absolute leanest, the more you're gonna have to shift from stuffed to content to hungry. And over the weeks, I've left the dinner table feeling a little bit less content because I know that's what I need to do in order to drop fat. So if you're chasing stage levels of condition, I still think that you're probably going to need to track at some point. But if you're just a regular person trying to lose fat, trying to look better and feel better without losing your actual life in that process, this is more than enough. You probably won't need anywhere near the mindfulness that I used either. And this isn't just me. One of my clients, Mankit, he ran this exact structure through his entire photo shoot prep with me. He ate his wife's cooking every single day, the whole way through, not just every other week like what I'm doing, but every single day. And his wife cooks just the same as the way that my father-in-law does. No recipe, no measuring, just by feel. and he got into the best shape of his life doing it. So this isn't just a one-off occurrence. It's a structure that holds up even under more pressure than what I went through. So that's the 3+1. 3 fixed meals so that you remove the daily decisions. 1 flexible meal where you lean on the 1 bowl rule, eat until you're content and not stuffed. And remember that nobody else gets to say how much really goes into your mouth. And that's what's helped me get into contest prep shape without tracking a single thing. But if you're still struggling with these ideas and everything that I've mentioned, if you want this now built and plugged into an actual plan around your training, your goals and your timelines, that's exactly what I do with all of my coaching clients. And that's how Mankit got the results that he got. There's a link below in the description to book in a call with me directly, and we can map out how this journey is going to look like for you as well. So you can get the same results as Mankit. Other than that, that's a wrap. And if you've made it this far, please don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoy the video. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.